well-being. Anyway.
But it speaks about, how marriage itself should be looked at, right? Because people have started bringing back their pictures on social media.
Oh, dear.
That sort of portrayed the happiness in the marriage. How did things change? So we need to pay particular attention to marriages. Of a U.S. case, judge demands extradition papers. And yesterday we spoke to, Frank Davis, who said the judge adjourned the bail hearing because he gave authorities the advantage 30 days to present to him the document on the extradition request for him to take a decision on that. The details are on page 3 of the paper. And court denies Abutrika bail. You remember that Abutrika is standing trial for some $8 million romance scam in the U.S., but he's being tried here whether or not to extradite him to the U.S. or not. His lawyers applied for him to be given bail, but the court has denied a particular bail because Attorney General's representative were against the bail application, and upon argument the court decided that he would deny the guy bail. His lawyers said that his his health was deteriorating and therefore he needed better care, but the Attorney General's argument was that he's being taken care of health wise in detention, and so the court decided that they would keep him in jail still. This story is a sad one. JHS student kills colleague over boyfriend. This is a JHS 2 student who has stabbed a JHS 3 student. Over the two of them were fighting over a boyfriend. The JHS 2 student is 15-year-old. The JHS 3 student is 16 years old. And because they were fighting over a boy, allegedly, according to the story, the JHS 2 student pulled a knife and stabbed the JHS 3
Take a story from top. So he or she went to school with a knife?
I think they fought back home, not in school.
Okay.
And she stabbed her on the breast. When she was rushed to the hospital, she was pronounced dead. And the body is being kept in the morgue. And the issue. So the story, the details are on page 6. I mean, that's basically what I've told you.
Listen, I don't know how we got here because Kojo in jail says you just tease each other out. Your boyfriend, you're wearing anko, laugh about it, you go home.
And you go.
If you have a father like mine, you won't cross this gate. How did we get here?
They were fighting over a boyfriend. JHS students. JHS 2 and JHS 3. That's the story. It's
how they grow to become the story on page 3.
It's a very sad one. I mean, when I read it, I just couldn't believe it. But that's the story there. Chronicle GPRTU throws a fit, arrests 15 drivers for charging multiple fares. The story came yesterday because they said they were not charging fairly. They had to go out there and arrest some people. They arrested 15. And they are still going about implementing that particular decision of theirs that they will arrest drivers for charging unfair prices.
It's not on our table to discuss, but when we have time, I'll ask the lawyer on the desk how this can amount to they charging them of a crime, you know. Because to be charged, the crime must be written and we must see it. So we'll look into that.
Martin Pebu explains that this would lead to agitations, which will lead to the break in public peace. And therefore, there's a provision in the criminal law that prohibits, that allows that you arrest someone who is challenging the public peace of the country. So that could be, but we have a lawyer on the table, so he could also help us. But the minority is also saying that the minister will be brought to parliament to probably explain the shortage in buses and also to talk about these people who have been arrested. So let's look forward to that. Baumia leads St. Paul's opinion poll. So ahead of the primaries on 31st January, a lot of polls are coming out. This poll puts Baumia ahead of Kenny Japan. It says delegates have indicated that they would want Baumia to lead the MPP, but there are a lot of polls coming up. So this one indicates that the former vice president is leading in the MPP's presidential primaries there. And Boso Mankrado has not been disturbed. This is a long, I think it's a release that they have there. You can go in there and look at it. Voter student Anes Oponfosu for exemplary leadership. Oponfosu is the board chairman of GIPC. If you get into that, you get the details. Let's do others. Okay, let's do majoonline.com. And we have managed to build sufficient confidence among MPP members, Osei Owusu says. Osei Owusu is the chairman of the presidential primaries committee of the MPP, and he says that they've built enough confidence. Some people are petitioning them to investigate the allegations that some people are plotting to cause mayhem in the primaries. But this is the chairman speaking. They get details of that. He again says we laid out the rules for all candidates or say we should defend MPP's internal election process. And today is Thursday. This is the day they said the 5 candidates will commit to unity, right?
Okay.
So let's see how that also goes. Mahama champions Accra research at World Economic Forum meeting today in Davos. I get details on there as well. So I'll end here and give you back to your first day panel. Today I guess they won't be troublesome because they all look calm.
They always do until... Kojo, thank you so much. I think I enjoyed the headlines very much. Right, so let's get into it. This morning, we're joined by Solomon Owusu. He is the communications director for the United Party. We also have been joined by Hamza Suheni. He is lawyer and member of the NDC communications team. And Dr. Joshua Zato is political scientist and policy analyst. Kamaldeen Abdullahi is deputy director of communications for the NPP. Gentlemen, it's good to see you again another Thursday. I hope you're well. Solomon, I hope you're well. Yesterday you were there, Rise Ghana protest.
Yes, I was there, but this morning I'm not well because of the documentary that I just saw a while ago on your station.
But the Midwife?
Very terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah. It tells a deeper...
Authorities must immediately move in. That's why they don't need the mobile money that you have put there is even a disgrace. A nurse, a midwife going to deliver, forced into a situation you expect her to be mobilizing from the public to save her soul. That is disgraceful. The Ministry of Health, the Ghana Health Service, the Ghana Registered Nurses, they must immediately, this morning, it must not cross after 9 o'clock. This village life attitude must stop in this country.
I don't know what it is.
So I am not happy with it. I mean, how can we live in a country? I mean, what moral temperature would I sit here and discuss anything about this country again? When a nurse, one of the interviews, I mean, in a certain aspect of the interview, she said she went to work fit.
Yeah.
She was not sick. Going to help others to deliver. Then she forced into this situation, and you have the Ghana Registered Nurses, you have the Ghana Health Service, you have the Minister of Health sitting now, expecting her to be mobilizing Momo, one city, to save her soul. What sort of impression are you creating to those who do in this profession? Immediately, they must immediately go to aid and solve the matter before we even proceed with other matters. It's not good for us.
It's not. She's hoping to raise 210,000 Ghana cedis.
And we are, as a country,
brain aneurysm.
No. It's too bad.
Yeah.
It's too bad. I'm so sad this morning. When I saw it, I said, but what's the point in coming here to discuss anything?
I understand.
These matters that could be handled with ease. And I would be very surprised if the body, the motherboard, as the Ghana Registered Nurses Association, are not aware of this situation. And if they are aware, what have they done? Because before this woman will go public, or this lady will go public with this matter, I'm sure she might have discussed with the body, with even the hospital, which hospital is, I understand she works with the Adan government hospital. What has that hospital itself done for her?
It becomes even a bigger challenge if the facility in which she works do not have the required means to even solve her problem.
That is the point.
It's an advanced service that she would require, brain aneurysm, and I'm not too sure. It's a woman who's on her journey to becoming a professor, actually. She's attained most of the highest...
No, it will come. It will happen. This one, from here, I'm going to the Ghana Registered Nurses Association, Ghana Health Service, and Ministry of Health. No, this matter must not be... You must not reduce it to mobile money. What are we talking about? Momo to save a situation. And I heard the reporter say that time is running out for her.
Yes.
And we want to sit down for us to lose her as a country before we set up a committee. Oh, what? No. This cannot happen. This cannot happen. But let me thank your station for this wonderful job. I mean, these are the issues, matters that brings out the best in terms of policy. But this is not about her alone. It is about the number of professionals in various bodies who may be going through such similar situations, who may never have this opportunity to even air it out for a conclusive resolution to the matter. So I'm very happy you have done that. This is what we call corporate social responsibility. you have done a yeoman job.
Thank you so much, Solomon. You see that I'm kind to you with the time already. In fact, I'll even start with you today.
The rest of the, if I don't even speak today, I'm okay. This,
oh, Mr. Owusu, thank you very much. Well, Dr. Joshua Zato.
Yeah.
So a lot has been happening in the news. Of course, by extension, Ken Ofori-Atta is still in the news. But today, one that probably would have a lot of people's attention will be the multidimensional poverty in Ghana that's falling. The Ghana Statistical Service says that it's falling to 21, a little over 21% in Ghana. There is still a bigger challenge where it looks as though it is not unevenly distributed, which means that there are still some parts of the country that are still not receiving the variables or the factors in which the Ghana Statistical Service would consider would mean that a person has a good standard of living. I'll start with you.
Oh, thank you very much. Good morning to you and good morning to your listeners and my colleague panels. I think it's very good news. For me, any statistic or any research findings that indicate that as a country we are doing something relatively good or something better is nice, because if poverty rates are declining, that means it's good for all of us. If poverty rates are declining, that means it's good for our neighbors, it's good for our people. And as a country, we need to be. Our biggest challenge, our biggest worry as a nation should be things like that. If you tie into what Solomon just said, if we are able to fight poverty, if we are able to make sure that the development of our people is at hand, if we are able to make sure that whatever national, regional, or local policy that we are implementing is aimed at one thing and one thing alone, lifting Ghanaians from poverty levels and this and then, it's a good thing. So I'm happy with that. In fact, this comes on the back of a survey by IEA, Institute of Economic Affairs, that shows that about 58% or so of Ghanaians approve of what is happening and think that things have gotten relatively better. So that shows a trajectory. And I'm happy with all of that, because then it means that as a country, something positive is happening, something good is happening. We can and we should celebrate that. But the report also mentions potential potholes, potential things that we ought not to gloss over. It still talks about the regional disparities. Certain regions are doing far better than other regions. Now, I'm not surprised. Two of the regions that are doing far worse are newly created regions. It talks about that Savannah and Otter region or so. So the question then for policymakers must confront is, what are the driving factors and how do we begin to address these particular issues in these particular regions?
Interesting. It highlights health. If you look at the percentage, health seems to take the larger chunk of what contributes to a person's good standard of living.
It does, because the thing about health is, you can be okay. If it's regular health, it can be okay until something like this happens, like something like what this nurse is going through. And then all your savings, every property you have, is immediately sold to save their life. You understand? Then coming back is almost not easy. It goes to the statement that Akufo-Addo made during the COVID crisis. We know how to bring an economy back. We don't know how to bring back life. What happens is that whenever there's a health crisis, you go out everything, literally sell or dispossess everything you have to get it. Coming back is almost always a problem. So I'm not surprised that it is the main issue that we're talking about. And so we can look at the regional disparities and begin to ask ourselves, what purposive policies can we put in place to address regional disparities? It has to be purposive. We need to, because it cannot be generic. It cannot be a one-size-fits-all approach if the disparities are there. It sort of talks about how specific regions, populous regions like Ashanti, Eastern, also have a disproportionate amount. And you can understand that. Some of it is related to the urban-rural rift. Some of them is related to the fact that there are people in these communities that are being crowded out or crowded in the sense that most rich people are moving up to the suburbs. In Accra, most people are moving out to better neighborhoods, leaving the center of the city choked with little or no services. You know, you are living in somewhere very far away from the center, so you have better facilities and better everything where you are living. I don't know where I won't ask this guy will know, but that's the point. So when you do that too, social services within the center then begins to be what? Deteriorate, becomes poor, and it contributes to the poverty rate. So the question we have to ask is, how do we make sure that in the peripheries, because sometimes you're even driving in Accra, then you get to a place like, you just see, nobody needs to tell you.
Yeah.
Better roads, better everything. So we need to also begin what? To address those kind of issues. Then there are some other issues that have to deal with industry specific. Last year, Joy Farm had to organize an egg market here for people to sell eggs, where there was an egg glut. I've talked about this, and I always talk about this. people, a friend told me how if you go to Otti region plus and some places in Northeast or so, there's a yam glut. So many yams there, and they cannot sell. The prices are falling low. And again, I've said this again, if you go to Tumu, if you go to Sala East, there's maize glut. Part of it is we need to find a way to add value to these things. It shouldn't be the burden of the farmers. The farmers have done their part by producing. We should find purposive policies of telling them. Next week I'll be in Tumu. There's a factory there that is doing something amazing. They are trying to take the bead gloss and turn it into, what's the name? They want to turn it into a chicken feed.
Okay.
They want to turn it into these things for porridge and other things.
Okay.
Kedan, yes, Kedan. Kedan is a factory in Tumu. They are trying to launch it. They've added a new line to add quality.
Okay.
And these are some of the things that I hope the Ministry of Trade will look out to reach out to Kedan. I heard the regional ministers coming to commissioning. So I hope the president hears about Kedan. I hope the Minister of Trade hears about Kedan. And you are here. Well, you are an in-law of Sisales. I hope you also hear about Kedan. And then you talk about it. They are doing amazing things there. Because unless and until we begin to add value to some of these products, some of these issues will be perennial. Remember, rural-urban drift is every year.
We'll get to the rural-urban drift.
So finally, let's come out with an all-of-the-above approach. And sometimes when you use an all-of-the-above approach, we shouldn't also use a one-size approach that just try to prescribe this thing. Some of the regions have specific developmental challenges. Let's address those things, and then at least I hope that this number gets far better than it is now.
So, Hamza, Dr. Zato says that if you look at some of the regions that were mentioned in this report, it's the newly created regions. My question will be, if we didn't create these regions, would it have been better anyway? And also, feasibility check. In countries that we say are developed or are developing, is it really feasible that if there are regions or sectors, will we get equal accessibility to good health, to good standard of living? Is it a facade or is it a reality? Can we get that done, really?
It is. Good morning to you. Good morning to my colleagues in the studio, and of course to our cherished viewers out there, as well as your production team. I think that MFR, it is possible to get your developmental projects across the length and breadth of your country, if the country indeed is committed to that particular objective. It is doable. We see it elsewhere, not just in the Western world. There are many exemplary countries in Africa that references can be made, especially when it comes to health infrastructure and how they have been able to succeed in dotting it around critical areas of their country. So it is something that this country is also working on. Time is still not lost, but I think that with more commitment, especially if we're able to continue from the kind of interest President Mahamadou in his first time invested in the health sector, I'm pretty much sure that if he's able to continue in that way, we'll be able to cover many of the critical sectors of our country, especially when it comes to healthcare delivery. But you see, MFR, the issue has to do with the two poorest regions in the northern regions. I do not think that the creation of these regions resulted in the tag as being one of the most poorest in the country now. Maybe we need to understand that even prior to the creation of these particular regions, the three northern regions were branded as the poorest. I think only comparable to Central Region or so. But what that tells you that even prior to the creation of these regions, many of these new regions were more or less hinterlands of the existing region. And so if you take northern region, for example, it was difficult to travel all the way from northern region to north to certain districts within even the new northeast now. They were completely cut off from the, what's the name? Yeah. Town centers and urban areas. And their lives, in fact, they lived under terrible circumstances. There are even communities you will find in the current northern region that are also detached from the urban center of Northern Region as it is today.
I don't think you will mind if I interrupt. We have similar communities in Upper West. If you go to the Sisala area, towards Northern Region, even cut off by rivers, in fact, actually called overseas.
Yes.
So,
I think
they're cut off. So
and as I speak with you, there are such communities even in the current Northeast region.
You
know, so the poverty situation in the northern regions, I think it must continue to be on the front burner of every administration. But you see, this multidimensional poverty also exposes one interesting perspective, and that has to do with the rural-urban migration. Interestingly, Ashanti region and Eastern region is also fast becoming a concern zone. Because per the report, it appears that they also recorded one of the highest multidimensional poverty lines. And that is worrying.
So what, people moved from these areas?
It could be, yes.
And then it makes the accessibility to these things what?
Absolutely,
higher.
It could be.
They overstretch
it. And it is coming to it. I'm sure that the situation in Accra is no different. But these are the issues. But look, MFA, we can't also downplay the significant inroads that we have made as far as multidimensional poverty is concerned. Because if you look at the figures, last year, we have improved compared to 2024 figures. And so whatever we did in 2025, we must consider the possibility of doing more this year. And government must have a deliberate strategy. And I am convinced that this government has one. That is the reason why, if you look at the 2026 budget, we are concentrating on critical sectors that we believe can help take the people out of poverty. And one such sector has to do with the oil palm sector, where the government has indicated its commitment to coming out with a factory intended to take advantage of that industry. And by doing so, you would uplift many of our people outside the poverty bracket. Again, if you look at the agro-processing factories, about 7, that the Minister of Finance has indicated that they are willing to establish this year. If that also is done, we would be taking advantage of the agricultural sector and bringing on stream or into the mainstream many of these people who are found in the rural communities with their livelihoods hinging on agriculture specifically. And so a government deliberate strategy is critical. My only hope and prayer is that we do not allow these factories, if they evolve, to be used as the normal political football that we engage in as political actors in this country. Because you see, agriculture will be an important vehicle in taking many of our competitors out of poverty. And all of us must be committed to that drive, especially those of us who are coming from the north. Indeed, we grew up seeing our parents going to the farm almost every day. And as you continue to get exposed to urban life, you begin to ask yourself the kind of benefits they were getting from that particular initiative. Because in terms of changes, you really didn't see much changes growing up. But every year they were on the farms. And so there's the need for government to actually take these interventions seriously. And I have made a personal commitment to ensuring that I will police these promises that we made to the good people of this country, especially the 2026 budget, where we indicated that we would create more factories to at least support the agricultural sector and produce coming from that sector. And rest assured, MFA, if we are unable to live up to that expectation, many of us would have cause to break ranks with this government and demand that these investments are actually taken through.
As you police the government, I shall police you too.
You would like that?
Yeah.
I would love that. I would love to be policed.
Come on.
I would love to.
I'm now seeing you for the first two.
Sure.
Okay. Happy New Year. So what I'm struggling to reconcile is that the number of people that the data says that quarterly they exited from a poverty level. They said 360,000 quarterly. That's a huge number. But still the same Ghana Statistical Survey just some months ago tells me that about 1.3 million young people do not have jobs. I want to reconcile it. That is it that the people who are moving now already had the means, but the health and other factors were not accessible, or what? Well, I haven't been able to reconcile the data.
Well, thank you very much. And once again, good morning to you. Good morning to my co-panelists and your viewers as well. And Happy New Year once again. MFA, we will continue reading figures on papers and tickling ourselves and laughing that we are improving when we don't put pragmatic measures in place to ensure that we fight poverty to the core. Just like Hamza said, last year we had these figures. Have we improved? The answer is in the affirmative, yes, we have improved. But in reality, what is on the ground, like you alluded to 1-point-something million people complain of jobs. What is on the ground? Like the report alluded to the fact that when you go to the bigger regions, poverty is becoming endemic, okay, and that we should do something. That is what is the reality. And I think that, look, we have not been deliberate about it since independence. First of all, when we attained independence, ask ourselves what population was this country. Now, fast forward to where we are today. How has our population grown? And what have we done to ensure that the growth of the population matches with what we are providing in terms of development? Okay? That is why earlier speakers made mention of creation of regions. Their whole idea is to ensure that, look, we deal with population growth and equitable distribution of our resources. And equitable distribution of our resources means that we should try as much as possible to make available amenities that will ameliorate the living standard of the people in the regions that we have created. But like I tell you, like I said, look, this pragmatically we have done nothing. Why haven't we succeeded? We have decided, and I will agree with Hamza, to play political football with essential matters that affects our development and the development of the human self. For example, the issue about factories that he spoke about. Industrialization, that's what it boils down to. Now, if we are almost 70 years as a country, and we have not been able to industrialize, and we have all the raw materials, we are endowed with resources, but yet we sit here and do what we call the MPP NDC and say we are enjoying ourselves. And we sit here and go to our constitution and say we have what we call National Development Planning Commission. Are we serious people? To be very honest, we are not serious people. If we have a National Development Planning Commission in place, I would have thought that industrialization should not be something for politics. The regions we are creating, each region should have had one factory operational. At least. Dr. Zato spoke about yam glut in Uti region. What stops us from having a factory that yam?
And maize glut in Tumu and Wellington and Gulu.
Okay, what stops us from having such? Go to the enclave around Bunu region, Bunu East, and look at the mangoes, the fruits that go bad. What stops us from thinking out of the box? Yet we go and import from China and other countries mango juice on our shelves in the supermarkets. Are we serious people? So you see, these are self-inflicted norms. For me, IMF will always come up with some of this report. And like I said, if we do not have pragmatic measures put in place to curb them, then I think we will always continue.
Which other measures can we have practically?
The measures is that, first of all, if MPP says we have brought 1D, 1F, championed by Alan Kojo Chiramanteng, and then by the time he exercises, he says, look, we have over 100 and something factories in place under our government, which he said so. The NDC should not come and say we have scrapped 1D, 1F, because it boils out to industrialization. Then they say, oh, we have scrapped it, but yet we are also going to establish some 3 or 4 factories in our budget. What nonsense are we doing to ourselves? Please, this morning, I think I am getting angry on this. We are inflicting ourselves with politics. So if, for example, we had these factories put in place, and then the continuation of it comes, and then we say, okay, if there was 120 factories, how pragmatic it is, how real it is, then we go and do all the evaluation. This is not working well, that is working well, that is working well. What can we do to improve upon it? The jobs that you are talking about, if these factories are working, obviously, there will be demanding factory hands. And demanding factory hands means employment will be created. We haven't done this. And then we come and sit here, and then we come and talk plenty English and go home and then go and do NDC.
I like to think that's not what
that's exactly what we're doing. We come and talk plenty English and go home and then the country is still where it is. So for me, if we really want to improve, first of all, in the educational sector, we should make sure that the STEM that the Akufo-Addo thought of and put in place.
Speak that banner. You're on that banner.
Okay?
Or you don't want to speak English.
I'm saying the STEM that Akufo-Addo taught much and brought it in place. We should try as much as possible to continue with it.
Okay.
Again, the industrialization drive that the former governments have had, we have papers in place. We have
since Kwame Nkrumah's era.
Let's develop them.
Okay.
But sadly, since Kwame Nkrumah era, when the NDC came with the Diversity Implementation Committee, they sold over 300 factories. My brother is here. This is spite. We sold them to people, and yet today, where are they? Where are those factories?
Question now, as Hamza once.
But let me so for me, this multidimensional report is there.
Okay.
However, we should be deliberate about it.
There shouldn't just be numbers.
It shouldn't just be numbers.
Okay.
And then actually practicalize what we are doing as a people.
Solomon, you have opportunity to respond to a lot of the things.
Solomon is very happy with what...
a lot of the things that your co-panelists said.
The truth of the matter is that my brother Anthony Abeyefa Kabo will not be happy with Kamaldeen and Zato on their views about factories, because just...
Hey, I didn't express any view. I just mentioned one factory.
A couple of days ago,
which is doing an amazing thing.
A couple of days ago, I heard my brother Kabo loud that factories were not the issues. If factories were anything to go by, they could put about 100 or so in the northern regions.
Abeyefa Kabo is on the policy of Ghana.
Oh, my brother.
You lost me on that. What did you say?
Realize it. I said, you
last Saturday we had a program at Joy Prime. I left the place and you, because of my absence, you decided to do a lot of.
So what?
Today I will pay back. No. I'm doing today. I will cover all the available spaces I lost last Saturday. But the truth of the matter is that factories are very important. I agree with them, and I agree with anybody that questions the policy credibility or whoever gave the advice that this current administration must discontinue the 1G, 1F. I have had the occasion of questioning the trade minister that cannot be. That cannot be. Because if you look at our employment indices, majority of Ghanaians are employed in the private sector. Government's ability is able to only employ about 700,000 people. Ghana is a country of about 34 million people. If you take half of it as being the population that within the labor market, it means we have about 17 million Ghanaians who are due for employment.
Yeah.
As of now, we are doing about 10 million. And if government is only employing 700,000 out of it, it means a chunk of the people are employed within the private sector. It is the reason why the idea of the 1D, 1F, which was not a novelty anyway, because Mr. Lanchamante also looked at the 7-year development plan of Kwame Nkrumah, and then tricked it to suit our current situation. Whereas Kwame Nkrumah wanted the public sector to lead in the industrialization drive, because of the UP stock and the mentality, ideology, we believe that the private sector must lead. But you see, here again, my brother Kamal cannot be happy with...
That's the MPP ideology, philosophy, center right.
So now you are in it.
No, I'm just saying it's philosophy and ideology.
If you are here as a policy analyst.
Yes,
what is
ideology and philosophy a policy?
Center right, center what?
Yes.
It's not.
But is he agreeing that it's here represented?
No, I'm just telling. I'm helping you make your point. Alan did a good job.
Dr. Zatokra, why don't you just clear this once and
He's a friend. I'm just saying that.
Are you NDC?
I'm saying that here.
No, a simple question.
I'm just helping you.
She's asking you a simple
question. I'm just helping you. What you are saying is a good thing.
Dr. Zato, do you know why?
Alan did a very good job with the 1G, 1F. And that was a very
Dr.
good
Zato,
thing.
I'm here. I'm here.
So that's it. No, I was
but far from that. I get this all the time. Like I get viewers who constantly say that.
It's a simple question.
Why don't you just clear the air?
I'm a policy analyst.
Okay. So please.
Go ahead.
Please, Solomon, stick.
All right. Policy analyst. You are here.
Stick to that. I don't want to hear that NPP.
But he contested the primaries of the NPP. We cannot be allowing him to be deceiving the public.
Member too.
I'm a United Party member. There's nothing wrong with that. But you don't take my time. Let me proceed. The one district, one factory. Here again, they too cannot take themselves out of the blame. Because whereas they were investing more than 2 billion in NAPCO, Nation Builders Corps, which was a fantasy. I mean, I can't still wrap my hands around it that a government will come and say that we are only setting aside money to be paying graduates 700 cedis every month, whereas you have a beautiful policy in the form of the 1D, 1F, that you could have pushed all these resources there for them to extend to private sector, to set up factories or expand existing factories.
But we agree that setting up factories and its operation is a bit, it would take a bit of time.
No, but
NAPCO wasn't a bad idea.
It was a bad idea in every respect.
No, but to cushion young people and
somebody goes to university to go and pay a hefty hostel fee like 5,000 a semester.
But the other side of it is that they'll be home.
The other side is that governments, look, let's go to Article 36. What does it say? The work of every government is to make the Ghanaian happy.
Absolutely.
To provide employment. So that is not an excuse. That your excuse is that because you cannot provide sustainable employment for the people, you and I are tax revenue setting aside and be paying 700 cedis. And if I would survive on 700 cedis?
Not at all.
So why would we do that? And that was done because of politics. And I'm happy that he raised the idea of MPP and DC politics. Because of cheap politicking, because of the fact that they wanted to suppress a candidate in the name of Alan Chemante, let's go and give the money to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I thought that was...
Me too.
You were with me until Dr. Bawumia came. I was with you. But...
Oh, I am explaining this, but you are not getting the drift. The 2 billion that was given, the NAPCO. The NAPCO was implemented by Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
This is
okay.
Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, you and I agree that was a bogus policy. Don't you agree with me? That you set up aside more than 2 billion to be paying graduates 700 cedis every month. Do you think it's a good policy?
If I understand what the NPP at the time said they wanted to, then Kamal, you're here. What was really the comment? What was the NAPCO meant?
First of all,
no, but my time, you don't have to. No.
It's your time.
First of all, Alan Chemante did not have a policy on his own.
No.
It was
my question directly.
Policy.
You yourself said it a while ago.
Let's let him understand.
You yourself said it a while ago.
No, he was appointed by the president to ensure that his policy towards 1D, 1F is achieved.
Okay, you get to answer the NAPCO question then. Please proceed.
He's unable to answer the NAPCO question. So the truth of the matter is that we wasted that money. And that is why we do politics. Remember, in the days leading to the 2024 elections, we were told by these same people that they had employed 2.3 million Ghanaians. We were in this country. In second D. We were told. And we told them that, look, don't do politics with employment. Because when you do that, you annoy the sensibilities of those who are staying in their homes and not having jobs. They said, no. Now, what have we been told? That we sit down, we come here and then spew lies, we do propaganda only to be faced with the reality. Now, let's go into the reality. The truth of the matter is I also have a problem with the Ghana's Statistical Service.
What would that be?
In one breath, they say that the drifting of population or the increase of population is what is causing this multidimensional poverty. In another breath, Greater Accra is the lowest in terms of this multi-dimensional poverty threshold. How do you marry the two? Because to my mind, and statistically, Greater Accra and Accra proper has more population than Ashanti and the Eastern. So that conclusion for me does not sit well. They may have to come back and then explain further. However, what I believe is the cause of all our woes is that poverty is a function of corruption and mismanagement.
Okay.
Simplicity. Look, no country is endowed with abundant resources. What they do is that they make judicious use of the limited resources that is available to them. And then with that limited resource, they make sure that people do not inflate projects. The last time we came, we were discussing Agenda 111. Is that not the case? Mm-hmm. MFI, if we were given the opportunity to implement a project, would you at a go say that you were constructing 111 hospitals? Can you imagine if we were even done with 5, what it would have done to this multidimensional poverty we are talking about? Because they are saying that access to healthcare is not there. But someone just decided on the author of corruption, just chop, not anything. Make no mistake. To say that, look, I am going to implement 111 projects when he or the government of the day knew very well that they did not have the means to complete all of it. So corruption comes in there. We are talking about access to education. This is a country where Even food stuff that are meant for secondary school, headmasters and so on and so on, they take it and go and sell it. Come back to the issue of corruption. This is a country where roads, monies are, we go to the Afro-Exim Bank to go and borrow money to come and construct our roads, and somebody miraculously will let the money be missing. So that is the bane of the Ghanaian problem. If we are going to have corruption in this country, just half it. I'm telling you, your multidimensional poverty situation will be better. Will be better.
Okay.
That is all our problem.
Okay. Thank you, Solomon. So, Hamza,
yes.
Respond to this. And it's not just a concern of Kamal anyway. What was this? Why did the minister announce that they're discontinuing 1D, 1F? Because central or primary to this conversation is access to jobs. And that we know by extension will create jobs. Why did we discontinue?
I think that, first of all, it is important to clarify that the NDC in opposition raised concerns with that particular policy of 1 district, 1 factory. Because in conformity with the Nanado administration at the time that believed in empty rhetorics, we felt and were deeply convinced that it was one major rhetorical policy direction of that government. Again, there was no commitment or whatsoever to actually supporting industrialization through the implementation of the 1 district, 1 factory policy. And listening to Solo, they had the opportunity of working with Alan Chairman, and it is quite clear that that commitment is not there. And for 8 good years, MFA, it is difficult for the MPP to make references to working factories under that policy. And so the position of this government was quite clear. Over the years, governments have championed the formation of factories.
Come on, let's have one.
Either through government leading the role, or supporting the private sector to do so without a fanciful throw of jargons intended to deceive the good people of this country. So the fact that we have taken out a policy direction that is rooted in rhetorics, 1 district, 1 factory, does not mean that this government is not committed to the industrialization drive through the creation of factories and also supporting the private sector to contribute its quota to that particular drive. MFA, not long ago, we discussed the 24-hour economy document when it was launched by His Excellency President Mahama and the Secretariat. And if you scan through that blueprint, it is quite clear that apart from the mandate of ensuring that businesses run 24 hours, especially businesses in the private sector, inherent in that particular policy direction is also a commitment on the part of this government to support industrialization through meaningful support to either existing businesses or new businesses that are intending to come out in the agricultural sector. So that is still in line with government's agenda to
did we do any research that supports the idea that 1 district, 1 factory was just rhetoric?
Absolutely, but you don't even need anybody to tell you. They are here around this table. They should give us examples of working factories under the 1 district, 1
so
factory.
many.
They should.
So many.
And you see, MFA. Oh, are you going to allow me?
I'm listening to you. That was
It should ask you.
Are you disrupting?
Hamza, land on it.
Why are you disrupting?
Drop this issue of factories
again. You have no example of a working factory under you. It is quite clear.
Would this be factual, Kamal? No working factory?
They should give us 1 district, 1 factory that they champion.
So, can I come in now?
No, but let me.
Well, he will land, then you answer that question.
I thought he was
again, I listened to Kamal, and quite clearly, he does not even have an iota of understanding of the very ideology of the party he represents today. You heard him make references to privatization NDC drove in terms of the government state-owned enterprises. Clearly, the NPP's ideology is an ideology that is rooted in supporting the private sector to develop. The NDC's ideology is one that bestrides a threshold between government intervention and that of what? An enabling environment for the private sector to foster, to grow. Now, in line with the NDC's ideology and in recognition of private sector support for growth, that initiated or informed the NDC government to drive the policy of privatization of some of the state-owned enterprises intended at achieving efficiency. So if there is any political party in this country that must pat the NDC in the back for actually driving through that policy intervention of privatization that at the time led to instrumental growth in our economy, it should be the New Patriotic Party. That's one. And no, please, when you are speaking, finally.
How are you going to speak?
Finally, because you were interjecting.
No.
You were interjecting. And you see, MFA, finally.
This is NDC and PP strictly. So when they wrap, we'll go to the next topic.
When I started my submission, MFA, I resisted the temptation to go political. Because if you look at this multidimensional report that has been presented, it gives a certain picture of the fruits, of the effects of the fruits of government in 2025. And that's why I told you that a comparison of the figures between 2023 and 2024 and that of 2025 gives a telling impact of the management of both the city and our debt situation and how that has reflected. Because if you look at the multidimensional, it's not just on incomes. It is also on the successes in the educational sector, health, and many other socio-economic factors that affect the good people of this country. And so if these indices tells a story that there seems to be an improvement, it also dovetails into the fact that the management of our economy has actually impacted lives out there. But as a government that is very sensitive and responsible, then that appreciates that we still have so much work to do. We are not dwelling on these negligible, because we will call it negligible successes, because our ambition is huge, MFA, until we reach a point that we can tell with certainty that Ghanaians are beginning to reap the benefits of our intervention, and that many Ghanaians are benefiting from it. This government will be cautious in terms of how we celebrate our successes. That's why you have not seen us even organizing Kenke parties at the Ministry of Finance celebrating the fact that we have gone to borrow. So we are measured, and they should not take our measurement, our being measured for granted, especially when it comes to telling our story. We simply do not want
Hamza is fine. I think the point is being made.
We want them to appreciate that this is a government that is sensitive, and as much as we are achieving a lot, we know that so much work still needs to be done. And many of our people are still struggling with poverty.
The government, I think in 2019, published a full list of 58 completed factories under the 1D, 1F. Except that the 58th one didn't publish the number of persons they had employed directly or indirectly. But respond to this. And Hamza, everybody eats kenke. It's only when kenke was eaten at the ministry that it became a problem. Please.
You see,
when you eat kenke for both.
First of all, I have not shifted away from our core belief as a party that we believe in privatization and we believe in ensuring that the individual, of course, gains an opportunity and strength to build himself or herself in a society that we call a society with freedom. I have not shifted away from it. What I said was that the NDC, through the PNDC, or the PNDC through the NDC, I should say, whichever way it comes, because the NDC is a byproduct of PNDC. It is a fact that they implemented the Divestiture Implementation Committee to sell factories that were actually state-owned, and over 300 factories were sold, and today there is less story to tell about these factories. That's the point I was making. It is not to say that I am departing from our core belief in privatization. No. If you have privatized, what measures were put in place to ensure that the good intention that you had to sell them so that they could better off? What is the story of those factories today? Pathetic, sad. That's the point I was making. Now, two, I am happy you have answered the other question.
Which were
whether or not
which factories are
actually, wait a minute.
Which factories?
I am saying those factories sold. What's the story of those factories?
So to give us the
over 300 factories that were sold.
4 factories. And
what is happening today?
So mention 4.
Oh, come on. And the Divestiture Implementation Committee.
So mention 4 of the factories.
Does he have to? Okay, we
so that we can assess his claims.
Distract me. I am saying that
because I've counted Hamza on the fact that he says that one district, one factory. I have fact-checked.
I refuse to go the way he wants me to go.
Okay, proceed.
You don't know what you are talking about.
I am saying
know what you are talking
about. It is a fact. You don't know. If you don't know, there's just
mention 4.
I am saying that It is a fact that the NDC sold factories, and those factories today, there is less story to be told.
You are a policy analyst.
Now we
this is true. Just for my viewers.
No, I'm not denying the fact that factories were private. They were private, but he should mention two.
Okay.
And we can evaluate the state.
Okay, then we'll evaluate.
Now we move on. We move on. You have answered the question of whether or not 1D, 1F created some factories or helped the private sector to create some factories. You have answered that question. That you said that last time we checked, a report was actually published, which report spoke about some 58 factories, as it were. You did mention that. You see, let's get serious. Discerning minds are watching us. And I'm told that on Thursdays, people who watch this show are really happy. You understand? People like you, people like Zato, and then Solo are here. So, of course, let's try to comport ourselves, and then, of course, appear as discerning minds. What I want us to know and to understand is that those factories, well, that policy was a very good policy, which policy was geared towards industrializing this country, which I had made the point earlier, that if this government, okay, had actually looked at it and say, okay, when we were coming, we did mention that we're going to do 24-hour economy. 24-hour economy with a formula of 133, that a single job will be handled by 3 people. You said it to us. So what then pushed you to depart from a policy that, of course, will ensure that your 133 would have been achieved?
If I look at the 8 thematic areas of the 24-hour economy, I see that factories have expressions under most of those thematic.
Did they say they were cancelling 1D, 1F?
He needs to
1D, 1F wasn't breaking mangoes.
He doesn't.
1D, 1F, that one wasn't meant for latrine pits. 1D, 1F, was it for latrine pits or factories? I'm asking a question.
You lost me on that.
Why? Your question you asked, that's why I asked you. You said if you looked at the blueprint talks about factories. And I'm saying the 1D, 1F, that one was for latrine pits, not factories. Is that what you're saying? So, you see, the point is that, listen to me, the point I'm making is that if you, of course, believe in building factories, and there are existing factories, that there's a policy that helps us to industrialize, come and build on it. You don't come and say, we've scrapped this. Then the next moment you say, we want to also set up factories.
Also, when I read what the
minister says,
the minister says that they are not doing one district, one factory. They are moving it to agro. They gave it a different name.
Look.
Does that mean
he spoke about rhetorics? The 2025 budget said how many chip compounds were they going to? When they asked Felix Ofosu-Kwakye, look at how he was struggling. Your 2025 budget, you said by the end of the year, you are going to build some 50 or more chips compound. A journalist asked you, Akosua, reference to your own budget. The year has ended. How many chips compound have you? He was there going around, primary healthcare, and what has done what? He could not cite even one. That's rhetorics.
That's a sad situation.
A typical example of rhetorics.
But, Dr. Zato, I hear both parties.
When you come and sit here, I'm only trying to let you understand that
and I personally, okay, let's have one.
Who are rather more.
Let's have one meeting.
Rhetorical.
Let's have one conversation.
Yes.
Okay. I also have a personal problem with discontinuing your project, especially when there's a new government. Yeah. Hamza alludes to the fact that they think that whole one district, one factory was just rhetorics. I mean, this can be fact-checked. A factory is a physical space. You can see people walking in and out. It cannot be just on paper. Okay. But why really did the NDC have to discontinue it, rebrand it, retoss it around? Was that needed?
Well, no. The short answer is no. But we can go back. Hamza says something that is true, that the NDC, against all its impulses and its ideological bona fides, embarked on the diversity implementation program. There was a reason why. It came with the SAPs and the ERPs, structural adjustment programs and economic recovery programs. And part of it is that state-owned enterprises were some of the worst culprits. They had some of the biggest debts, and that was pulling down the Ghanaian economy. So that was why when Rawlings people say he turned to the West from his socialist rhetoric, he was met with this reality. IMF World Bank simply said, look, you have to reform. And the reform meant that you have to then restructure and reform these SOEs. That is what led to the DIC coming in to sell them. They structured into 3. There were critical SOEs, and then there were some that could be done. So you saw the Ghana Water Company, ECG, and others were not privatized immediately, but others were sold. So, yes, it's true that the NDC did that, and against its own, should I say, center-left social democratic ideologies. So that is something that, yes. And when Kufuor came, Kufuor continued with that. true to his center-right private sector policy. That was why his old Ghana Telecom went and some others went. He continued with that, with those reforms. So ideologically, philosophically, those things did happen. Okay. And that is why you then saw that when Kufuor said he was going to make the private sector engine of growth, golden age of business, it was all an ideology towards trying to move this economy from state-centered 19 years of the John Rawlings to a more private sector center. Right. So those things, the ideology has not played a very big role in our policy analysis center. And I'm happy we are today because sometimes if we just did that, then we'll be adding more quality or better understanding to why we do things and how we don't do things.
So clear example, and we'll move to the oil marketing company conversation. Clear example is that NDC has its ideologies, the MPP has its ideologies, and these ideologies, they influence the decisions, projects, everything that a government, when they come to power. So, for example, 24-hour economy.
Good. So that's why that's why I'm not coming in. We would hope that they would do it, and we hope that the discussions around our policies would then center us so that we can learn more, like we are trying to do this morning. That is when you then realize that the 24-hour economy, before 24-hour economy was then the 1D1F. And you realize that Nana Akufo-Addo gave the 1D1F to one of his most loyal and trusted ministers, Alan Chiramantem. He gave it to him because he strongly believed that Alan Chiramantem would do it. That's why we say that Alan Chiramantem.
I've not had my bite on it too.
He gave it to him because he trusted him very well. He said, look, unemployment in Ghana is a national security issue. So that's why I said, look, Honorable Alan, I trust in your expertise, I trust in your knowledge. Take this big policy and deliver very much for the Ghanaians. He did that. He gave it to him because he believed he could do that. And so we can ask the question today how he handled it, how he did it. We can do
Solo is here to help.
I owe you lunch.
We're learning.
I owe you lunch.
We're learning. This morning we are in class.
I don't want to get involved.
I'm just saying that he gave a policy to somebody that was strong.
Let's practice. Let's bring it home.
I expect you to do justice.
Guys, let's bring it home.
So that was
one district, one factory.
Yes. Does it sit in
the chief architect is here.
Yes,
the chief architect of one district.
It does, because the idea was that industrialization, private sector. So the government was supposed to work or help to create an enabling environment, under the Ministry of Trade and the Honorable Chiramantem to create this enabling environment for private sector.
Okay,
yes, for private business.
Another home, 24-hour economy.
So I want to tie it.
Okay,
I want to tie it. So if so that's why you realize that the policy came with tax reliefs. It came with tax reliefs. It came to tax reforms. It came with certain incentives to incentivize the private sector to participate and get engaged in this in the 1D1F.
Yes.
So it was a very good policy.
Alan did well.
He did very well.
Yeah.
Now, then he left, and that's a different thing.
Okay, so it's not strange when the NDC comes to power with their policy. If they carry their policy and their ideology, it will not fit in the one district.
No, that's not the issue. You can say that. You can say that. You can say that ideologically. The NDC could then say that we will change the incentives. Instead of making the incentives to be private sector-led, we could make it to a state-centered growth.
Which is an alteration.
Good. So what I mean is that if you also, but honestly, if you look at the 24-hour document, if you take it like this, and you look at the 1D1F document, the similarities are stunning.
Okay.
They all aim to do one thing, to induce or to juice up demand.
Okay.
And so if you look at, so it's only a name change, if you ask me honestly, even though the minister says that we are changing the 1D1F. In reality, if you look at both documents, they hope to achieve a similar objective. And that is what I'm saying, because the only way to get the 24-hour economy working is through industrialization.
Okay.
So, like I said,
think it's a good place to land. I think it's just a good place.
So let me quickly deal with it.
But what do you have to deal with? It's not a fact
he has questioned the integrity of this.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
You have allowed Mr. He run down Mr. Lanjaman. What are you talking about?
No, I don't deal with
what are you talking about?
Oh, no, you are being unfair to Solo.
No. Are you?
He said
Solo is not.
I'm not Solo, but I'm just.
Are you Solo?
He said, Dr. said that Alan Chiramantem did so well with 1D1F.
So what you are saying, Alan Chiramantem did well? So now you're
oh God,
Alan Chiramantem did well.
Hang on.
Let's go. He has confessed. He said Alan did well. So
Alan did well as a midwife.
But by the way, Hamza, why are you so concerned about?
I don't know about it.
Because the way a manner
Zato went about.
Zato, first of all,
If you do that, you know what you're doing. You're telling me indirectly that he's sitting right by me, but I can't hear him.
He said, what?
I heard him. I'm not buy fuel.
Let me,
all of you do not buy fuel.
Let me
you don't buy fuel. Let's talk about
let me
fuel.
clear one small thing.
You see, before you come,
Yes.
well, we understood what
what you were saying.
What did he do?
What was I doing? You see?
I mean, this is
What did he do? They are confusing. What did he do?
Everybody, it's my time.
What did he do?
Everybody, it's my time.
They kept Alan Chimantin.
The time and still take it.
It was
I'm taking it.
It was synonymous to put Alan Chimantin in the ring.
I have not forfeited any time.
Hang
And
on.
tying his
I didn't land with my
hands
forfeitment.
and telling him to fight
I
for
didn't
me.
land.
That was what you did to him.
Hang on.
I have not forfeited.
Gentlemen, you know what? You're never kind to me on Thursday.
But you want to discriminate against the United Party here? Oh no! You gave this man the opportunity to speak copiously about Mr. Lanchamantin and try to run Mr. Lanchamantin down. And I'm saying that I will disagree.
Please,
I know Zato very well.
If he
Zato's mindset.
Why are you people bringing his background behavior to TV? That's not what I said.
Hey, we have been doing discussions every day.
So you couldn't tell.
I promise you, I saw a man.
After they kept Alan Chimantin.
God bless you. God bless you. Yes.
Okay, then let's leave it. Let's
No, let's go. Let it go. Let it go. Let's move on. He says he has praised Mr. Lanchamantin. He was the best minister. He did very well. Is that not it? Let it go.
That's the case, right?
According to Zato.
No, Zato.
I said, oh.
No, but like, yes or no?
Yes or no?
Yes or no?
Yes or no?
The best minister, he did so well at the 1D1F. You praised him for that. Is that what you are saying?
No?
What I'm saying,
No, yes or no?
I allow
yes
for
or no?
this. Yes or no?
I
allow for
Yes or no?
He didn't rank him.
Oh, now he's changing.
He didn't rank him.
Let it go.
It's a fair question.
Let
I
it
just
go.
said that it was
Did
one
he
of the
deliver
most
on-
loyal ministers of Nanado.
It's enough. It's enough. It's enough.
Very big.
Hang on.
He gave you.
No, he delivered.
Which one was the big?
He delivered something.
Okay.
He delivered something.
Which portfolio was big?
Trade.
Trade and ministry.
Trade and industry.
Don't go there. Then now comes back to why I must expose that.
Okay.
The trade and industry ministry that was bequeathed to Mr. Lanchamantin. You know what we call the special initiative ministry? How Akumsi's ministry. It used to be under the trade and industry ministry. They took it out. Exim Bank, the board, ever since the NDC established that, the trade and industry ministry had a representative on that board. They took it out. Look, this one, 1D1F. The first 1 year, Mr. Lanchamantin was fighting the Kufuor administration to take hold of
Maybe they took it
the
out because
1D1F. Because
he was MPP and now UP. That's the fact.
The 1D1F, they deliberately went and set up a secretariat under the presidency. Listen to it though. A policy that was provided by Mr. Lanchamantin, the MPP's manifesto, they set up a secretariat and made Gift Ohinu Kredu
to implement that.
The woman didn't have any clue about it until they realized that things were getting out of hand.
So in essence, the ministry which he headed,
they took all the juicy part. They took the ingenuity of Mr. Lanchamantin to do what he did, even with the limited resources and all the sabotage. So he must have played it that way.
But he did well.
No. So he could have done better if he was supported, but for their cruelty. And today I'm happy that for the first time.
So why did he resign?
You see the mindset.
Why did he resign?
Hang on.
If he had resigned, would you have had it?
I'm concerned because Kamal is MPP and he's calm.
Yes. No, I'm talking policy.
No, he's an MPP man. Don't let him deceive.
I'm talking policy.
Let's talk about
He contested the
Let's talk about that. Yes.
That's when we were enjoying.
Parliamentary aspirants on the ticket of
I'm listening.
He and Kamal.
The day you make up your mind.
You are also aspiring.
When we were enjoying.
Are you aware he's aspiring to become a member of parliament?
Exactly.
I have seen.
I'm focused on you. Go ahead.
Gentlemen.
I'm focused on you. Go ahead.
I think we should vote that I shouldn't moderate on Thursday.
Oh, no. I'm focused on you. Go ahead.
Where have I declared?
You are focused on
I'm focused on him. Go ahead. He's a host.
I'm going to have
What kind of agenda is in your
No,
head?
you have to be able.
I'm going to have Kojo.
It will be worse.
We unanimously reject that idea. You should stay where he is.
So just when we're enjoying some price cuts in fuel, we see that oil giants, something that started like on a lighter note on social media, has escalated quickly. Star Oil, which is one of the largest contributor to that sector, has with immediate effect as of yesterday, says that it suspended their membership of COMAC. And they cite a few reasons. They say that despite they being one of the biggest financial contributor to the sector. They are walking away because they think that the chamber or COMAC as an entity do not represent their views fairly when it comes to discourse. And this all started because they say that the price floor that has been set by the regulator that you can't go beyond, they could have gone a little further or below if that price floor didn't exist. The MPA has had some conversations in the media as well on this. Where do you stand on this? Solomon, I'll start with you. Where do you stand on this? Is Star Oil coming to an ant fight with the sledgehammer? Are they right in the way they feel and in walking away? This walk away, would it affect me, the consumer, in any way?
I mean, Star Oil is right. That policy floor, what is it? The floor policy by the MPA is totally needless. Absolutely needless. You see, you are in a competitive environment. Remember, Ghana started the implementation of full deregulation in 2015. That was when we fully deregulated.
It was not full deregulation.
I'm coming. That is what they told us.
It was not. It was partial deregulation.
I'm coming.
In 2015.
But remember, if in 2015, I'm saying that it was fully deregulated because we didn't have the price floor. No, we didn't. It was only implemented in 2024.
Yeah.
May of 2024. You understand?
Well, then Hamza is correct. It's partial deregulation.
No. It was until 2024 that they brought in this policy.
Yes.
So when they started, the whole idea was that the MPA would be playing this role as a regulatory body. Allows the market forces of demand and supply. Because if you are a businessman, MFA, or a businesswoman, you know your cost component. And in spite of knowing your cost component, you tell me that this your product, you can sell it at 1 cedi. Why must I be concerned? Because you know your business, whether or not you are making margins. In any case, if you are telling me that this is the floor below which you cannot price, why did the NPA not give us the ceiling beyond which they can also not price? So it only brought this policy to protect the OMCs and not the consuming public. And I'm a consumer, so why must I not be interested in the ceiling to which I will not be asked to buy a product? Star Oil is saying that looking at their business model or metrics, looking at the arrangement that they have with their suppliers, they believe that they can further go down on their pricing. But they are not being able to do so because of the floor, the ceiling that has been given to them. And so whether or not things are so improved in the international market, whether or not our interest rate situation has improved, you still have to charge a certain amount. Is that the way you do your business? But
at the time that they were advancing this argument, they were not even at the point of the floor price.
No, they are saying...
They were a little, some margins ahead of the floor price.
I don't want to go by that. What they are saying is that they have the capacity. And beyond this discussion, what it would then mean is that once the MPA removes the floor, that is where I take on the Star Oil. You think we are just going to leave them? That you have assured us that given the opportunity, you can go down. It's a very delicate matter for even the Star Oil itself. Then it brings in to question their credibility. That you have promised that you could go down or you could go below the floor. Now, there is no floor. Before the floor was removed, it was saying 9.8. We expect you then to go say 9.6. Other than that, you become an entity with no credibility. And that is why we must go with what they are saying. Mind you, they are also an industry player. Look, I keep hearing people make the argument that removing the price floor would encourage smuggling, would encourage low-quality products and so on and so forth. This is neither here nor there. The MPA, the cost of a liter of diesel of petrol that you buy, includes what we call fuel markings. These markings are to ensure what? Quality of product. You understand? By the way, would removing the price floor affect government revenue? Would it affect our tax revenue? In fact, if they are going to reduce prices, what is going to happen is that there will be a lot of demand would exceed, or there will be volumes. The volumes that we are buying currently will be higher than what we are buying, and that will even cause government to rake in more revenue.
Okay. please let me just bring Kamal in.
Yeah.
Kamal, so if you listen to the NPA, it's not as if the NPA just got up and then they decided that 2 years ago they were going to introduce the price floor. It was still the chamber, COMEC, I should say. It's more of a collaborative effort. NPA also recognizes that there are really other variables that contribute to pricing, really. Beyond the variables that we all know or what Star Oil is saying, there are other factors. Solomon mentioned that there could be smuggling, people won't pay taxes and all of that. And they say these are very potent issues. And so if they don't bring a ceiling, there's going to be a challenge.
Well,
a floor price.
It is important we establish that as a country, a small country as we appear, we have over 170 oil marketing companies as we sit. For me, to be very honest with you, when in 2015 we set off to implement the deregulation, our idea was that, look, governments upon governments have always been accused of higher fuel prices. And government would have to use our hard-earned consolidated fund money to go and buy fuel and come and sell. Why don't we make sure that there's deregulation, then we bring in the private sector, which will buy from the BDCs and then, of course, sell to the consumer as an OMC. Now, this went back and forth until it was established in 2015, and then to where we are now. Somewhere 2 years ago, an argument of this floor price also came in. Whether or not there are big players in the game that would like to edge out the small players. That's why I said 170 companies. Okay, whether all of them are in good standing, I have to check at the NPA to find out. But what I do know is that Reggie said it was over 170 companies. The point here is that these COMAC members who are in majority say that, look, because of our numbers and because of our strength that varies, if this floor price is removed, we risk getting Total, and also let me not mention company's name, we risk getting these bigger companies, okay, competing us or edging us out with pricing. So assuming there's no floor price, then every single company has its right to set up its price, okay? Whether below the floor price or whatever it is that we're going to call, but there's no floor price. So I decided to say that, look, I have gone to get my fuel. I think that when I even sell at 7 cedis, I'm going to make my profit. But because you are making more volumes as a big company, if you make 7 cedis and your profit is just even a peswa, because of the volumes you are actually selling, you understand, the smaller company cannot compete with you.
People make the argument that there are two ways only in which you can cut your price. You are either reducing your margins or you're smuggling.
I'm saying that, look, what is the main contention right now for the majority on COMAC is that let us have a favorable environment for all of us. We have agreed that NPA should actually appear as the regulator. NPA set a floor price for us. We are all watching the floor price, and then based on the floor price, we now trade in the market. So I can go, if it is a floor price 950, and I decide, okay, I'll go 951 or 952. Star Oil can say, I want to go the 950. You understand what I mean? But you cannot go beyond, below the 950 as it were. So the major issue is what NPA is doing is saying, look, let me not be unfair to all the players because I am regulating all of them. That's one. Now, two, the fear also is that if the bigger companies are allowed to move and there's no floor price, and then they edge at the smaller companies, tomorrow, as a result of monopolization, the consumer will then suffer because there are few in the system now. So they decide that, look, now we are going to sell it at 10. There's no floor price. No law also stops them from selling at 10. When in actual fact, they should have been selling at 8. You get what I mean? So NPA says, no, I will not create such a room for that to happen so that there will not be monopoly in the system, even though there's deregulation in place. That's the second aspect. Then that is where Solo said that, look, Star Oil, at that point, we are going to hold you responsible if you are supposed to sell cheaper and you have gone higher because you are now monopolized. But we can't be sure of that. For me, I will tell you, this has nothing to do with politics. This is for the consumer and also for the environment called the petroleum environment. Okay. We should not have an unfavorable environment for others and favorable for others. Let NPA check it and then we'll see how it goes.
Protect the consumer. Why do we behave as if the person in the business or the value chain do not need to be protected as well?
And you see, that is why I'm a bit concerned about the position my brother Solo took this morning in relation to the matter. And hopefully after this platform, we engage further.
Of course.
And exchange ideas. Possibly the next showing, my brother would likely change his position.
Maybe you'll join me. He's a consumer.
Most likely to. But, you see, MFA, first of all, you need to understand that many of these policies are taken or implemented by government with the mindset of protecting not just the interests of the consumer, but to a very large extent ensuring stability as far as business
that's even the main
concern. And you can only appreciate the NPA price floor. You can only appreciate the NPA price floor. You can only appreciate the NPA price floor if you understand the evolution of the deregulation concept. Like my brother referenced in 2015, MFA, you need to understand that we are dealing with a system that prior to deregulation in 2015, government was having the challenge of having to intervene in the petroleum sector through subsidies and under recoveries. That eventually led to a situation where the debt portfolio was becoming unsustainable. Indeed, I remember somewhere in 2015, we were having to look for in excess of 3 billion Ghana cedis to retire debts that were owing to the OMCs, largely because of government intervention through subsidies.
Yes.
And so it was putting a major strain on our public space, and in terms of even our international post trade, as far as our finance was concerned. Now, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, concerned about the situation, decided that there was a need for us to take the bull by the horn by deregulating the sector and allowing Ghanaians to actually pay the true cost of petroleum prices. And that was what led, that was in 2015, that was what led to the amendment of the NPA Act to implement that partial deregulation. But in doing so, he also knew that there were some of the sectors that we still needed to intervene through subsidies, areas like premix, because of our collective desire to ensure that we give the needed support to the fishing industry. And so many of these sectors were still under subsidies. But partially, liquefied petroleum gas and the other, what's the name, gasoline and coal, fell under those that were deregulated. Now, fast forward, one needs to also appreciate that even the amendment of 2015, inherent in it was a price floor mechanism. It was not boldly stated, but in the calculation of the ex-refinery price and the ex-pump prices, NPA was quite clear of the margins, taxes, and levies that they were adding, especially to the ex-pump prices, based on which a ceiling was given, an idea was given and communicated to the OMCs, based on which they then also were required to communicate to OMC through indicative prices.
But that is not the price floor you are talking about.
No, I'm coming. I said that there was an inherent price floor because they were meant to indicate prices to NPA.
All right.
Okay.
Now, MPP decided to take it a bit higher. And indeed, commendable, in line with our quest to sanitize our sector. They decided to introduce the price floor in 2024.
But was there any chaos before 2024 in terms of how the...
No, you see, but one thing you must understand is that you simply, as a government, do not have to wait for chaos to happen. Sometimes you can anticipate the likelihood of proactive and must be proactive enough to prevent.
The oil marketing companies themselves acknowledged that there were emergence of new oil marketers that were pricing in a way that was affecting their prices.
You see,
you want to finish?
I have something. Yeah.
Yes. MFA, please let me land. Don't interrupt. Now, MFA, with the price floor mechanism, the debate as to whether it should be removed or not must be situated not in the context of Ghana's government desire to make profits from the sector. The discussion has nothing to do with government revenue. No. I heard my brother say that, making reference to the fact that why is that the only place we can make revenue?
No. I never said
unless
that.
I got you.
I never said that.
So now it is not a revenue debate. It is intended to protect not just the consumers, but also the industry players also. We are dealing with over 300 OMCs. No. And out of these 300, only 10 of them have control of over 70% of our market share. Mm-hmm. What that simply means is that without the NPA price floor mechanism, because they control in excess of 70% of the market share, mm-hmm. they can actually proceed to determine prices through undercutting.
Absolutely.
Even if fuel prices are actually supposed to sell at 10 Ghana cedis per litre, MFR, they are likely to come together and go 9 or 8 to take out the rest of the 200 who make up the 30%. And immediately that happens, these companies can once again gang up and dictate fuel prices in this country. That government would have no option than to intervene again through subsidies.
That's the difficulty.
So the amendment of 2015, the amendment of 2015 that was intended to solve the situation of the subsidies problem would eventually come back. Because, trust me, they can actually proceed to create artificial shortages. And that's how the capitalists work. They send you incentives. They tell you can reduce this further. We can do this like Star Oil. Please, can I land?
Yes.
Can I land? That anybody who understands the capitalist market, anybody who understands the capitalist market, that's how they do. They extend to you a carrot. So they assure you Star Oil is doing everything in tandem with the capitalist economy. They are telling you that we can reduce the prices further. It is government that doesn't want us to reduce it further. They know that Ghanaians would be excited about further reduction, and Ghanaians will support their call. And if that is done, and the price floor is taken out, they take control of the market, then they begin to dictate the prices through artificial shortages of petroleum in the system. And immediately that happens, they begin to dictate the prices. And government will not have no way of intervening. Also, finally, this is important. MFA, this is important. You see, apart from that, there is also the issue of market instability. If the price floor is taken off, there's the tendency that it will affect planning when it comes to businesses in this country, because they will not be in a position to predict fuel prices to be able to plan for the year.
Why?
And there's also going to be the likelihood of people in Greater Accra paying different rates than people in northern regions.
You see, we are getting it wrong. It cannot be. You see, that's why I disagree with my brother Hamza. First of all, this price floor we are talking about has started to do with the UPPF, has started to do with all the margins and taxes. It is about setting a minimum price.
No, that is not true.
No.
But it has an
The NPA in setting the price floor takes into account the ex-refinery differential and that of the X1 price.
It doesn't
because if you take the X1 price, for example, you have the margins, taxes, and levies that government would
already in this country
on the refined petroleum product, and that would determine how much
already in this country.
So it is not accurate.
There is price collusion by Goyle, Shell, and Total.
Okay.
I mean, when you have three entities, they don't all buy their product from one source. They don't all take their letters of credit or letter of credit from one bank. They don't have fixed costs in terms of salary structure. That when you go to Shell, a station manager is paid 1,000. Then you go to Goyle, a station manager is paid 1,000. So on what basis?
But the fact is that
because the fact is they are all very different.
Yep. Are they?
Everyone has
dollar is the same.
They all buy from different people. They all have. Some of them even buy on account.
But the rate.
Some of them even buy on account. They don't operate with a fixed overhead cost. So why would they price at the same rate? In any case, when this whole thing started, interestingly, people are saying the big ones will cut out the smaller ones. It will interest you to know that most often, these small companies that you see, oil OMCs, they were having lower prices than the Shells and the Goyles.
Because they all do not operate at one. Is that not the reason why the NPA says that let's regulate you so that one person does not?
So if the argument is anything to go by, then why is the NPA failing to also have a price cap? Now you say you are protecting consumers. As you speak, me as a consumer, this oil marketing company.
In principle,
I want to hear
I'm coming.
So you are wrong.
No. Price cap. When was the last time?
That is why. No. They have a price. I'm telling you that in theory they have a price cap. And do you know how?
There's no theory here. We are doing practicality.
No, let me give you an example. It is not for decorative purposes that MPA requires the OMCs to send their prices in every price.
No, but that does not mean
because they cannot go beyond. And they cannot go below the price floor.
When we had,
I want to hear
when Ukraine.
So in theory and in principle,
you were
there's a price
buying
cap.
a liter of diesel at 23.
You are completely wrong.
When was the last time MPA told us that oil marketing companies above 20 cedi you cannot increase your prices? We don't have that. We only have the floor, but no cap.
Yes.
Okay.
Do we have a cap too?
So why do you think that they have to send their price? The MPA sets the price window with them.
And I'm saying that they cannot have a cap. They don't have the maximum limit with which they can go. What is the maximum limit?
They do.
What is the maximum limit? What is the maximum limit?
Are you all being fair to Dr. Zato?
Zato is a policy analyst.
First of all, I'm really
Let him
You
analyze.
don't understand that sector at all.
So he disagrees with you. So tell him there's no
there's a
cap.
small, I'm happy to see
have a
that.
cap?
You can see,
In principle, there's a cap.
He said he doesn't have a cap.
Listen.
That's not what he said.
The point, what I'm making is that
Okay.
the floor,
Alaji,
Talk to me.
I
Let
can
them have their
see
view.
when you see Hamza and Alaji agreeing like this, it's because they have the benefit of understanding it from government, from the policy perspective, that they can come to it with more.
They have been in
insight.
government
So
before.
I'm really grateful that you can see that cohesion from them, because they understand it from, let's say, more from the government perspective and also from the business perspective. I'm glad about that. One, this morning, or I think from last night, my good friend Eduji Tamakulu has been caught in a battle between two big marauding elephants, the market and then the consumers. And then he's trying to settle it. I can see him trying to do the best. If there's any one person outside there who has what it takes to get all this people together, it is him. So, Ediji, this morning I don't envy you. I know your hands are full, and I bet I know that you can handle it. And you can handle as a regulator. There's also something that most regulators face in terms of policy. Because, one, you have to try to address the concerns of consumers, the masses, the public. But in doing that, you sometimes also see governments trying to protect businesses. Government is not doing that because they don't know that the businesses would at any opportunity, should I say, cheat, or any opportunity try to what? Increase their profits. Governments are doing that because, as Hamza put it, the 30% of other small OMCs also employ Ghanaians.
On Monday.
And one of the biggest challenges that every government faces is unemployment. So the last thing you want or you don't want to see is that a lot of these small, let me say relatively small OMCs have collapsed. And then a lot of the people, the young men and women, we just talk about unemployment, have been thrown out. So the government has an eye on making sure that, because in some places, in some villages you go, some communities you go, the only form of formal employment is the 2, 3, 4 people who are employed in this fuel station. So the government also has a duty to make sure that these people continue to be in a job. So it's always sometimes challenging. That is where the idea of market failure and government failure comes in. Always difficult for government to try to balancing those things, two things come. But one of the things that makes me excited today is because the provocateur in this whole thing seems to be Star Oil.
Explain.
Well, they are the people that are threatening to move out. And I'm happy. I'm happy that because it is not, what's the name? It is not the foreign companies, OMCs, that are doing that. It's a locally made, it's a locally based company that is all of a sudden causing all this trouble. And I'm glad about that. I buy oil from Star. Their prices are cheapest. So I like that. So I'm happy that they are those. Their oil like no. And I'm glad that over the years, Star has emerged
bigger players
to be one of the biggest players, even though the biggest player. Whatever formula,
oil wouldn't have attained.
Whatever. I want to hear. No.
I can
How did it help?
Guys.
What was?
No, Hamza. This is
whatever.
I'm telling you that without
whatever formula Star is using,
Hamza.
I love it. Whatever approach Star is using, I love it. The fact that a local Ghanaian company has emerged to dominate this market and to be one of the biggest players and interrupted the market, I love it.
The largest player.
The largest player.
Yeah.
Look, people, I'm sure students at the University of Ghana Business School and other places will be reading case studies of how Star did it. But we need these success stories. We need people to study how the Star emerged to beat, what is the name, the biggest ones?
Goya.
Total.
No, the Goya is the
No, I'm looking at Total and the other one, the foreign ones, because that is what it is. Shell, Total, these are biggest foreign companies. For a lot of years, they have dominated the market. Governments are giving them goodies to say in the market. Goil never, I thought that Goil should have been the one disrupting it now. I thought Goil should have been, but I don't know why Goil sat there. And that is one of the things that monopolies do. that Star has come, Star has found a measure, they have found a theory, they have found a formula to make sure that they are disrupting them good, because Star stays here. And it's still telling other Ghanaian companies that this is how you pick on these big giants and beat them. I'm sure very soon Star will move out of Ghana, they will be in other countries and do well. But at the end of the day, so if Star is now saying that we need other incentives from government to be able to be a dominant player, I pray whole government gives them.
So,
I pray.
They are not even asking for any incentive. They say remove the price
so
floor.
until Star Oil became the leading, the leader in the market, did they have a challenge with the price?
They had it. They have always had it.
I don't know.
Before.
I don't know.
Before.
They have always made the point.
I believe that. No. Let me make this point. And I think this should come together with your ideology and philosophy. Let's domesticate. You know domestication?
Yeah,
remember domestication? Yeah. If a private local company, in all governments, all over the world, governments try to give incentives to their local companies, to companies that are home. That is why you go all over the world. The tax system is sometimes structured.
Are you anyway suggesting that the removal of the price floor would...
I'm saying.
Please let me understand.
The point I'm trying to make is that let's make sure that whatever it is that Star, that has helped Star to be where it is, that as a government we have a responsibility to help these local companies to fly.
Are you not interested in how it became that leader in the market? And do you in any way trust a private company over a government regulator?
No, I'm not, it's not over. I'm praying that a regulator will become... My hope is always in a smart, effective and efficient regulator that will make sure that, one, the public interest is protected at all times, but that you create a healthy environment for local businesses to spring.
MFA, you see, prior to Star becoming the market leader, it was well.
Yes.
Star competed under the NPA floor pricing mechanism. And under that mechanism, it competed so effectively to the extent that it emerged in 2025 as the market leader.
Yes.
So that tells you that the floor pricing mechanism does not act as a disincentive to market growth and access. That's one. Secondly, it also gives you an indication that it does not affect indigenous, or it does not act against the interests of indigenous OMCs. Because if an OMC like Star Oil could compete and emerge and beat global superpowers like Total and the rest, including our own well, it means that my brother here, if he is running an OMC, tomorrow under this current dispensation, he should be able to compete and get the needed support. And that needed support is the NPA regulation.
I totally disagree. Look.
And I can assure you, you know the orientation of this NDC admin.
Yes.
You understand.
This has nothing to do with your government.
No,
we are talking about
it doesn't. And I'll tell you
how do you come in.
I'll tell you how it does. You see,
how do you come in?
When we were campaigning to lead this country,
yes,
we made a solemn promise to the good people of this country.
Now what?
There are decisions we will take.
Yes.
To ensure that we resuscitate the Ghanaian economy,
yes,
and create an enabling environment, yes, for Ghanaian businesses to do well,
and also protect the interests of consumers. And I'm a consumer, and I'm saying that your price floor does not protect me.
It's not a shouting question.
No. So but you want to run away,
and I'm telling you, I'm not running away.
Yes.
I'm not running.
So how does it protect you? How does it protect you?
In my earlier submission, I told you, yes, that if you are not careful,
yes,
and the 10% who control the market, share,
yes,
are able to take out the over 200 OMCs.
How do
they will begin to determine pricing by creating artificial shortages. And the 9 Ghana cities you are desirous to pay for, in less than a year or two from now, you will be paying in excess of 20 Ghana.
It's not true. It's not true.
You have no option. Because that is how businesses work.
Position. No option. MFA, listen.
Yeah.
And so this is a government that is looking into the future. We are not being short-sighted.
No, this is
and the prescriptions you are giving out today in relation to the prices, is clearly prescriptions rooted in short-sightedness.
No.
And it is worrying.
MFA, listen. That
is not how you
are done. You are done.
That is not how you
are done. You are done.
And I'm pretty much, you know editing. You know editing. You don't know editing.
I know.
And you think that he will preside over
So this is
a system that is injurious.
This is not about
fair enough.
energy.
You have made your point.
He would have been your number one advocate.
You are
taking it out.
You are done.
Hang on.
You know him.
First of
And I want
all-
to listen to Solo because
So let's go
in
to
all
repeat
of
himself
this,
again.
I the consumer.
He is going to repeat himself.
Oh,
He has
can
made
you
all the
imagine?
salient points already.
First of all,
No,
I
because
said he's going to repeat himself. You are here. You will see.
no, because listen.
The man is going to repeat
In
himself.
all of this, we
After
the
this, we'll start give
consumer,
us
or
some
we the
free fuel.
consumer, we are
will we
the
get some
ultimate
free fuel
people
for
that I'm
start?
concerned
Right, I
about.
think that-
So Star Oil
You should ask him
advances
Solo,
very
not
solid
us.
argument
Yes.
says that, listen, global prices fall.
Yes.
When the CD strengthens,
Yes.
you can now reduce prices. But if
Exactly.
it means that we have to trust both them and the NPA
Yes.
when they give a price floor
Yes.
to know that that's the best deal that they're giving Ghanaians.
Exactly.
Why would I want to trust the NPA?
That's the point. That's why I'm saying that. You see, we
I'm just saying that I'm on the side of Star on this.
Your
we are missing the
point's
point.
clear.
Yes. First of
Stay
all,
with you.
the company or the entity making this proposal is an industry player. In fact, it's the largest industry player.
Yeah.
You understand? They were
As
not
a
the
result of NPA's
Oh,
regulation.
Whichever way they have won.
let's
Flexing their
As a
muscle.
result of the NPA's
But now they have power, they are spending the power.
our regulation has birthed them, and today they want to go against that same regulation
maybe
to prevent it from
maybe-
so Hamza will not allow me to
No,
speak.
maybe I became
Hamza will not allow me to speak.
catching my breath.
This
I want to
advocacy
hear
this
his
morning,
team if I can.
I will destroy every advocacy.
Hamza, no, because maybe I became the market leader catching my breath.
Yes.
And now I have the
I want
power.
to excel.
And I want
There
to
you
start,
go.
I want to get more oxygen.
I
What's wrong with
can
that?
fly. Star wants to fly. Let them fly.
The industry leader is saying that this policy you are implementing is not helping us.
Yes.
First of all, between 2015 to 2024 March, this policy was not in place. You are saying in theory it was in place. It was never. It became evident, pronounced to the entire world in 2024. So all the fears that you are alluding to this morning, that there will be monopoly, between 2015 to 2024 is what? 9 solid years. We never had that monopoly. So why all of a sudden? You as a consumer,
You study the trend and then you make
MFA.
oh, the trend for 9 years.
Make this point.
For 9
I
years.
want to listen
Solo, to
For
answer
9
you,
years.
Solo,
No, he's
Solo,
not
to
coming
answer
in
you,
again.
Go to Kenya.
Why must I go to Kenya when I'm in Ghana?
What you are
What am I
advocating
going
for?
to do in Kenya?
Kenya implemented it, and in about 12 years down the line, government had to intervene in the petroleum sector through the very
So
why did the government
Because
use for the
of
bulk
control.
distribution companies?
By the
Because they
the bulk distribution companies also they had to run away from the price floor. Why do you think that they did?
But what is your understanding of the ex-refinery price?
What is that?
The difference between the ex, because in calculating the ex-refinery price, there's a control mechanism that tells you the premiums that they can put on top of the ex-refinery.
So though the
Before
price
the-
floor,
No, but this has got nothing to do with your refining price.
hang on.
So you don't understand.
It has got nothing to do with it.
Hang on. You can't assume
Yes.
that.
My
You
brother.
can't assume that
telling you.
everybody watching would understand you. Break it down.
How you
so
break
we're
it down?
saying,
Break your ex. You
we're
break it.
saying that the bulk distribution companies pushed for the removal of price floor.
Yes.
They got it.
No.
They didn't?
No. You see, you need to understand that under the new, for them, because it is determined by 2 factors, inflation and that of
Forex market.
Forex.
But is it not the same thing that
So
determines
government agreed in principle with them that what we can do is to determine the price through using the ex-refinery price, where you have to look at you have to take into consideration what we call their premiums. So government already has an idea of the premiums they will add as alongside the Forex losses, if any, in pricing. That's the BDCs. Then they will now onwards take it to the OMCs. Then government intervenes because government would have had an idea how much it is costing to get it in the first place from the BDCs.
So
then government then intervenes through the price floor.
Okay.
Are you getting the point? So because government intervenes through the price floor, indirectly, government will not sit aloof for the BDCs to extort the system.
You know what happens?
And what this government is also doing, MFI, is critical. We are having this discussion because this government understood that even aside the price floor, there's the need for government to explore certain avenues to further reduce pricing. And that's why we...
Then what are we discussing this one?
Inflation... Please.
No.
We knew, as a matter of fact, that inflation was a major problem.
Part of the issue.
No.
And that's of our Forex losses. Today, we have been able to stabilize the city.
No.
Inflation
We shouldn't look.
is
What I'm
down.
trying to say is that, look,
And that is also
Star
reflected
now
in the
has
price
power.
of the fuel prices.
Star
Is
now
that not
has
the case?
stature. And Star
If
must
we
be able
lose
to spend
control of
that power.
inflation today,
Okay. So
and
on
our
this
city
table,
stability,
I just
what will
want constraint.
You think that we'll be having this
You
discussion?
think Star is right? Should
They
they
are
even boycott?
They are absolutely right. They must boycott the oil marketing company.
No. Solo will change his mind after today's show.
Okay, hey, come on. Star should boycott
On this
and
matter,
then
you have to
MPA
change
should
your
listen as
Whatever
well.
you say will be used against you in the court of law.
Quick one. Quick one. I think that Star has done well. And Star, as a major player, should also consider the fact that in every business environment, there should be a consideration for all, especially when it's competitive. Now, the point I'm trying to make,
with
the greater respect to Star, yes, industry may not be fair to you in terms of the pronouncements that they make when it comes to your stance. However, when you also go to a particular table for a discussion and look at where the majority tilts strongly and where the tilt does not actually go against the interest of all of you, I think that it is also very good that you also calm down a bit to listen. I'm happy that this morning Kumak is saying that, look, they are going to have a board meeting, and at their board meeting, they shall discuss strongly to see how
I think they had a board meeting yesterday, so there's going to be another board meeting.
Today again. On the Star matter. I think
yes, because
you have made your point.
Yeah, because I think
but it is important
it's a negotiation position. Star has taken a negotiation position.
To know that they are not boycotting because they insist that the NPA should take away the price floor or floor price.
Yes.
They say that COMEC is an entity.
Exactly. So it's a negotiation position Star is taking.
When they are answering to questions in the media, if you have a representative sound like, the only way you can reduce your price is when you cut down on your margins or you are, you are undercutting. Star Oil says that puts them in a bad light.
Government in a bad light.
So Star is saying that.
And our regulation. Their conduct, the government regulation.
No.
So you see. They have two problems. And the very moment you agree to be a member of an association, you must play according to the rules of that association until such a time that you go out.
Yeah, that's the point.
Now they are taking advantage of the capitalist environment, and they want to set.
It's okay. We've had.
I wanted to buy some time for us.
So why are you?
Do we close?
I think we have the last issue. You have the last issue.
So now, from next week, are you a Muslim?
No, I'm a Christian.
You're a Christian. I'll bring a Bible.
In fact, he's a
Muslim. I'll bring a Quran. So everybody will.
People go what? People go to betting. People go to betting with the Holy Quran, and they come and steal from us.
Okay, that's.
So that will be a bit.
So Ken Oforiatta. Let's wrap on Ken Oforiatta. It doesn't look like his woes will ever end. It's quite an ending.
Thank you. Look, as I'm sitting here, for me, if you ask me that what is my position, I'll say, if I can speak to Ken, I will say tomorrow next, ask to be self-deported, come home, face the justice system, put it to rest. If you ask me and I have the power, I will say, come, face the justice and let it go. Whatever it is, come face the system. When you come here, you will have your day in court. The government will make their case in court. At the end of the day, justice, whatever form it is, will be taken care of. This saga has gone long enough, and I think it's about time we bring it to an end. An end here will mean that we go and then we deal with these charges. When Akufo-Addo left office, he said a very powerful thing. One of the most things he says is that he opposed that all his employees, former employees, will stay home. I don't know what he said, but he said to be ready to be held accountable for their stewardship. No matter whom you are, no matter what you do, you have to be held accountable for your stewardship. I'm glad that the state has told us that even without him, some of the trials can begin, and they've begun some of the trials. That means that whether he is here or not, there's no impunity. But I think the state also made the case that they need him here for whatever reason it is. So if I wake up tomorrow and I see a kind of other in Ghana, I'll be happy. At least it will make sure that my friend stops the what do you keep fit he's doing at the American embassy, and then sit at home and do say he was tired there doing keep fit and say he's protesting. Solomon, you see like that provocateur. You were doing keep fit. Those all you okay. So at least
where we are now, Hamza, do you think?
Oh, I'm done. So stop the keep fit. I hold the care will come.
Once you invited Solomon in, I just where we are now. I hear everybody say that I think that Ken should come home. It doesn't look like he wants to come home. Where we are now, do you think that Ken really would have the appetite to want to come home?
It is not about whether he has the appetite to come home or not. where we are now, we all have to accept that it has gone beyond our control first as a republic at this moment, and that of his own hands, Ken, as an individual. What is at play has to do with another sovereign state exercising its rights, reference to its own laid down rules, regulations, and laws. And so, irrespective of what Ken would want at this critical moment, is immaterial, whether to be in the country or not. Of course, he can, communicate to the U.S. authority that I want to stop all this hulabaloo and come home. But Ghana has also in the system an extradition request. That changes the dynamics of the case. I've listened to so many people who were of the view that, look, this has nothing to do with the extradition request. And I was quite quiet at the moment. Undoubtedly, when Ken was picked up, MFR, it had to do with the fact that he had overstayed his visa. But knowing how our court processes work, especially in the United Kingdom and some states within the United States of America, if there's an extradition request, in fact, the first thing they do when ICE picks you up, or any law enforcement agency abroad, they pick you up, they first go to their local database to see whether you are a fugitive criminal or not, and whether there's a request, for example, in the United States of America, by another state requesting your extradition to that state, say from New York to Virginia. If there's nothing like that, they go onto the international database. And if there's something to that effect, then they will request the documentation from the appropriate state.
Maybe what people mean is that now, the extradition was not what triggered the picking up of
it may not have triggered it, and that's the point I'm making. But whether we like it or not, at this critical moment, the extradition will play a critical role, even in the determination of his status, as far as the ICE detention is concerned. I don't know whether you are following my argument. Yeah. Because you see, when they picked him, I'm pretty much convinced that in going through the softwares, both the local and international, they would have seen a request being triggered by Ghana for extradition. And it is not surprising that even the state prosecutors indicated that there was an extradition request when they were hearing his bail application for his removal from the country. So that changes the dynamics. And that was the reason why the judge in the Eastern case decided that he needed to see evidence of that extradition request before he could proceed. And so it changes the dynamics. He was picked up because of immigration issues, but as we speak today, it is the extradition that will drive the determination of the immigration issues, as far as Ken is concerned. But you see, MFA.
MFA. MFA will finish on the
yes. And I like the way he mentions the MFA.
Dr.
See, he mentions it in a different way. It's not like...
I appreciate the fact that he's able to say the name accurately.
No, but he mentioned it with some intentions behind
when you are...
He's always doing mischief.
Because I was of the view that Sedina as well would have been...
no, she has a different court date.
I thought it was 21st.
I thought 26th.
We had nothing about it,
yes.
but if you have any information...
Or so, okay. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay.
But that is a different facility entirely.
Absolutely.
And hers has nothing to do with immigration. That is more in tandem with the extradition request the former administration filed. That is now being effected. So the processes are likely to be different when it comes to Sedina. But you see, the reality of the matter is that we can continue to do all the political commentary around the substance of Ken's decision. One thing is telling. There was clearly an intention, or Ken evinced an intention from what is playing out now, never to subject himself to any investigative body in this country. Absolutely, that was clear from the word go. So the issue of his so-called health, that was being used as a cover not to return to this country, should be clear to even MPP spokespersons that this was a gentleman with a clear intention to avoid accountability from the word go. Today, that same Ken has the energy and strength to appear before state investigative bodies of another different sovereign country in good health. But when it comes to our country, suddenly it is a place where accountability can no longer be found. Is Ken so special than the likes of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, than the likes of Edu Buahin, former running mate of the MPP in the last election, what's his name? The former energy minister. Napo and the likes, who are all appearing before investigative bodies in this country to account for. Nana could be called at any point in time. No, he's not. I'm saying that he could be called at any point in time, but he has not left.
It will be after 3 years, would it not?
He's still here.
Nana Akufo-Addo could be called.
He could be. But Mahama was investigated. Have you forgotten?
It's long overdue.
Mahama was investigated by the special prosecutor.
Never.
Oh, how?
Mahama was investigated by the special prosecutor under the direction of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. He directed.
You were in this country, or you were in Saudi Arabia?
No, but we need to.
No, he was in Saudi Arabia.
So, MFA, look,
I think
we all know. Yes, I need to learn on this. We all know that the politics surrounding the issue basically is rooted in the fact that Ken is being aided not to avail himself to our accountability pillars of this country. And in the process of doing that, even apart from injuring our economy as finance minister, ably supported by MPP apparatchiks and appointees, today he's injuring the international reputation of the Republic of Ghana by his open statement that Ghana is a hostile nation and it is a democracy that he cannot.
That is a position that that you are not being fair with.
Come on.
No.
That it is a hostile country that he cannot have
access. If anybody injuring the reputation of this country is the current government.
So
wait, no, you will not finish. You've not been talking. We all study and you are waving to place that are not. We all love the Kenton. Now you are trying to take this away.
You are done with your Kenton. Are you not done with it?
You had your time and you decided to go and be praising Solo.
Can I go?
So it's an affront to the
I will praise you again.
Come on, please go on.
First of all, our Attorney General speaks as though he has all the information in this world. And of course, he's in a privileged position. He's supposed to have that. And to take his word for it. I don't know when he gave us the deadline of 31st January. The deadline of when the Attorney General is giving us. That kind of letter will be in Ghana.
31st.
31st, eh?
End of the month.
End of the month. Okay, that's fine. I only hope that his promise, as usual, is going to hold. Anyway, but you see, we have made this issue a big issue when, in fact, it's not supposed to be a big issue. I'm surprised. First of all, your presence or non-presence does not stop accountability process to be triggered.
It hasn't stopped.
Which we have made that argument over and over again.
It hasn't stopped it.
I'm saying that, yes, it has not. It has not. But until the noise was made about it, that the prosecution of the same individual began in court. I would have thought that once you have all these arsenals at your disposal.
Kamala, you said that it was a noise. It was a
noise. It was a noise.
What you said they had to get.
Why? When the special prosecutor started talking about Ken and that I want him back and whatever, then lawyers came out to say whether he's here or he's not here, you can prosecute him.
Are you in any way suggesting
before it came out?
Prosecutor didn't.
Not just that. I'm saying that. That's why I'm saying we've made big issues out of this for nothing. In any case, whether you are here or you're not here, so long as you have shortchanged Mother Ghana, you can be held. What?
Lawyers say that they agree that you can be tried in absentia, but the most preferred is when you're here. Does that make sense? So
that's what I'm saying. Listen, I've not said that is not there. I'm saying we have made this issue an issue. You see,
I want to see why you say we have made it an issue.
I am saying that you can go ahead and ensure the accountability process is triggered and achieved.
And I'm also saying that
with or without the person.
And I'm also saying that has started. Mm-hmm. The accountability process which you're asking has started in his absentia. But they have also not lost sight of the fact that they want him to...
It started in the midst of the noise. It started... Why? You could have just started without making noise. It started in the midst of... That's the point I'm making. That's what I'm saying, that we have made and created a noise, some brouhaha around us. Now, let's look at Ken. First of all, he's an individual. He's a human being. His fundamental human rights are supposed to be what? Observed, no matter what. That is why, even in our laws, whoever is actually held is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Okay? My point, I want to agree here with Dr. Zato is that, look, all this hula-baloo, all this noise, whoever is actually at the helm of affairs, subject yourself to him. That's what Ken should have done. If I were Ken's lawyer, in the first place, I would advise that he comes, because on the back of the letter that he even wrote to the chief of staff, when he was leaving, he wrote to the chief of staff, Julius Debra, to inform him that he was living. No, wait, please. He wrote. You guys have check. I know what I'm talking about. Please listen to me. I am not.
I have the letter here. You are telling me something. What is the letter here? The letter is here. I'll read the letter here.
This was Deborah, the chief of staff.
Kind of write himself. All right.
By the time he was leaving, was
Are you listening to me? No. Let me make this point. Let me make this point. And I say I will make this point
on this letter. He wrote.
I am saying that he wrote to indicate that he was traveling. And that anytime he's needed,
it matters who approved.
I'm saying,
I am to who?
It matters who approved. Who?
Look, cross-check.
No, the reason I'm asking this because before your
Deborah has no approval authority.
No, come on,
I'm very surprised that he's making this.
What are you talking about? He was not the chief.
So are you denying the fact that he didn't write?
No.
Right one.
Oh, but you're not even hearing my question.
I'm saying that before Ken left this country,
I'm saying that on this table, there have been many people who have come who have said that when he left, the chief of staff was still Fremont Osei-Opare because they want to use that as a point to build. And you have said that it is Julius Deborah, and I said I want clarity, just for comments that have been made.
When did Ken leave this country?
If anything to go by, the special prosecutor was early days of January. On the 2nd of January. Okay.
And he wrote to the chief of staff, right?
Yes.
I'm talking about the chief of staff then.
At the time.
Then you just apologize to the people.
Please proceed.
Please.
Then you have to apologize.
He wrote to the chief of staff, indicating that I am traveling and that while I'm away, I can be reached via this or these channels. He said that. And I'm saying on the back of that alone, if, of course, you are being sought for, it is only fair.
Interesting the time he chose to leave the country.
You understand? So for me, if I were actually one of his lawyers, I would have advised that, look, he comes. And nothing is going to happen. Okay. But people are here, people go through the justice system, and we all watch it. That's all.
All right.
So, MFA, the truth of the matter is that the longer Ken stays abroad, the better it is for the United Party. It further dents.
Will you put the national interest above your parochial United Party interest? We are talking about the national interest. He's putting his party. I just say national interest.
It makes your hatchet job easier.
No, please allow Solo. But why is this?
It makes his hatchet job easier.
No, come on.
You see, the MPP in them is coming up.
The man has been employed to carry out a hatchet job. And his job is to ensure that MPP is attacked all the time. That's his job.
Solo, that's your job.
That's his job. Actually, that's his job. It's not
telling us your job.
MPP. You just said that to make your work easier for the MPP to be attacked.
Come on.
You just said it here.
Come on.
You just said it here.
Come on.
He said it here. To make his work easier.
Now, when
that cannot come in.
I'm very surprised.
To attack the MPP.
Okay, come on.
He said it here.
Oh, yes. The truth of the matter is that.
You talk about Ken. Don't talk about this one.
I'm not going to. Everybody knows that what he said it will not hold water. First of all, Ken Ofori-Atta wrote to the then chief of staff, Fremont Osei-Opare, on the 2nd of January. And listen to how he was able to convince the woman to allow him to go. Greetings. This one is from Ken Ofori-Atta. Request for approval to travel for medical checkup. Medical checkup. He started by saying greetings. He greeted everyone.
Did he greet you too? Were you part of the greetings?
Now he made the point.
Was the letter written to you? Were you part of the greetings?
I told you he wants to do a hatchet job.
Please, can we all be quiet? Solo would have his move.
He said, number one, trust this letter finds you well and in high spirits, as you are. Spirit. Holy Spirit.
It was New Year.
This is to formally request your approval to travel to Rochester, Minnesota, USA for a medical checkup from the 4th of January.
Okay.
To the 28th of January 2025. Remember, see the date, 4th of January 2025 to the 28th of January 2025. So he himself gave Ghana timelines.
Yes.
Now, the moment he left, he was invited by the OSP. Remember, he had told you that it was just a medical checkup. But what have we been told by his lawyers, particularly Frank Davis in this country? The man was that ill, that we were that wicked to be calling someone who is that ill to come back to his motherland. Sometimes they want to sell it, it's even in shortest. That is it palm kernel. Yesterday, I gave it to all of us that went to the American embassy.
Yeah.
That we are busy for that. We don't know our left from right.
He said that Bernard Mona was making certain allegations that were unfounded.
It's true, eh? We are busy for nothing.
But I'd for in this country.
Are you done?
The truth of the matter.
But they would
It's
not the government.
It's not true.
No, don't.
Solomon.
Let them understand that Ghanaians are demanding. No, not government. Because you guys don't do well there.
You see,
Everybody knows I give you
the best they can do for him is allow him to go.
It
should get him some position.
Our democracy will not be taken serious if we allow Ken Ofori-Atta to be in the United States.
Precisely.
Then what moral deputy would you have to come and sit here and even discuss those in government on corruption? Or why would you allow them to even come and talk about corruption here? As a political party and as a deputy director of communication for the New Patriotic Party, you are encouraging Ken Ofori-Atta to continuously live in the USA.
No. That's not what he said.
That was the initial plan.
That's not what he said. Come out.
Was he listening?
No, but you don't have to respond.
No, I think this man was hearing me. He wasn't listening.
No, but I've already said it.
Yes, that's what he was doing.
Anyway,
he was busy hearing me, but not listening to me.
Why are you in a hurry to cut me?
What is that?
Because you have made
You have to come and do this.
I have not made any point.
I'm happy to have come to my
and I want to solidify it.
Solidify what?
He's in a hurry to go back to the key fit.
No, but you have been unfair to Solo. You have been unfair to Solo this time.
Okay.
Solo is in the hurry to
I see how
you were the one
being unfair.
You were the one heckling Solo. You were the one heckling Solo.
No, we're not shouting. We're not shouting. Dr. Zato, Hamza Kamal, Solo will have his moment. And I noticed that every time Solo wants to have his moment, you people are uncomfortable.
They are uncomfortable.
Why?
Keep quiet, Solo, please land.
The elephants around this.
You checkmate Solo right now when you told him he was out of order for attacking me. Only for you to say we are not comfortable again.
That's my
Solo.
Hamza, why? When Solo wanted to flow on Copenhagen, you didn't agree.
Solo will agree with that.
Are you done?
That I have not.
Are you done? Let it be on record.
He was Solo that said
Because he's in a hurry to go for key fit.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Well, we were joined earlier. Please mute your microphones for me. Kamaldeen Abdullah is Deputy Director of Communications for the NPP. Dr. Joshua Zato is political scientist and policy analyst. Hamza Suhini is lawyer and member of the NDC Communications team. Solomon Owusu is Director of Communications for the United Party. I'd like to remind you that the AM show is sponsored by Shield Silicon Paint from Azar Group, Syntex Pipes, and Time Herbal Mixture. Now, was 2025 a good year for your business? Will 2026 be the year of growth for your business? How can you ensure you do not miss the numerous Africa opportunities in 2026? So join over 400 businesses and policy leaders today, January 2022, as experts at Crystal Ball Africa 2026 review the opportunity and how to take advantage of the venue, Labadi Beach Hotel, the plot, Labadi Beach Hotel. It has already started at 8:30 earlier and is ending later today at 5 p.m. So you're not too late. You can join them. The theme, the Africa opportunity, time to take advantage. Don't miss the chance to network and tap into new opportunities. Register now to secure your spot at www.crystalballafrica.com. Sponsors Ecobank, Labadi Beach Hotel, AGI, Kawat Mocha, and media partners City FM and Joy FM. This event is powered by AB and David Africa. Please stay. There's more on the show.